Hello, this week I'm demonstrating a technique with charcoal where you actually rub out the charcoal. So you're drawing the positive and then you can fill in again with the negative, with the dark charcoal and the mark making. So I've prepared this already because it's kind of like there's a few steps. So I put that on the Padlet. So I've squared off an area of my cartridge paper with masking tape, and I used a large piece of charcoal. This is willow charcoal, and I covered that square, and then with kitchen paper I rubbed it in, and I took off the excess because I'm rubbing away. I don't want to have to rub away more than I need. In fact, what I can do now I've drawn my my shape, I can actually rub off a little bit more with this, take the excess off, and then go back in with the eraser. So I sort of prepared the ground, and then with my fine willow stick, I loosely drew my shape. Okay, so I'm just going to rub away the excess a little bit more. I'm going to go around the outside and start generally with the outside. And I've got a rubber here that I don't mind getting mucky. You can see it's been used before. Oh, and just to say that I'm using different widths of charcoal, willow charcoal, and I do have a charcoal pencil, only I may not use this because this comes out really, really black, much darker than this kind of like lovely sort of like soft black colour. So I'm just going to rub away. And it doesn't matter if I go into my line. When you're doing this, you can sort of like do your preferred technique of mark making, if that's what you wish. You can actually, when you're taking away, you can actually be quite decorative with the taking away. What I like about it, it gives this like solarized effect. I mean, you can just start to draw in like so. But I'm just going to, that's for another drawing. I'm just going to take away my excess. If I had shadow, I'd leave that in, but I don't. Oh, I have a slight shadow on the other side. It's really nice having a little bit of shadow with this technique, so I'm just going to just leave a little bit there. So as you can see, it really helps having taken off the excess already, so you're not rubbing away quite so much. And you have to be careful when you are putting the charcoal in that you don't scratch it. So I've got a few scratches where I got the edge of my charcoal. Let's see, I've got a little bit of shadow, so I'll just leave that there. I've got a horizon line that I'll have to put in again. I want to kind of like use. So I have to watch that I don't put my fingers, my greasy fingers, because our fingers, even if they're not, do have a little bit of grease and will lift off the charcoal the moment you touch it. Okay, so I can smooth that away a little bit. Okay, just clean up my rubber and get the ends a little bit sharp, and now I'm just going to start to rub away where I want it to go. And since you tend to get sort of like, this is like my medium, this is my light, and I'll be able to go in dark and then a little bit darker. So it's kind of like quite simple tone work, but it's really, really effective. And of course, when you rub things away, you can always go back in and work them with the charcoal. But we start off by just rubbing away. Some very, very light areas. I might have to work those to get them really, really light. Or I could just keep it quite simple. I've got a big, thick rubber here. It's quite nice if you've got a finer rubber. And then you wouldn't be quite so blunt when you're working. So I will be working those back in. When I start to put the contrasts in, that's when it'll start to really pick up character. I always think it's kind of like quite an ethereal way of working. It's kind of like quite magical, the effect at the end. Just put a few little marks in there. Right, I'm going to go in with fine charcoal around the head. It's kind of like quite prone to break, so I might have to and just slowly just build this up. And have those contrasts there. This really works when you've got strong contrasts. It's very, very simple charcoal technique. And I can pick up little areas there and go in again. And where I've lost definition, I can pick it up again. And I can always use a brush rather than my fingers just to rub things out. If my eraser is just a little bit too broad, too thick, I want it to be just a bit softer. I'm going to do this area here. This is going to take a little while, so I'll just get it started. Got some contours there that I might want to put in. I'll just work that in. I might just pick up the face again. Turned it round so I've got a nice fresh edge. Now you can do this with a still life, or you can get an image that's got nice contrasts, and you can from a photograph or something, and you can do a section of a photograph as well. Be very effective. I'm having to be really careful there, trying to I don't want to overwork the face too much. It's very easy to do. I think what I might do is get a fine brush just so I can start to push the charcoal where I want it to go. I have one that I haven't used recently, so it's a little bit. So I can be a little bit softer, and I can go back in and add charcoal again. It's a bit of a push me, pull me technique until you're sort of like so that's lifting the charcoal off and softening it a little bit, and erasing it a little bit finer than how the rubber was doing in these sort of like really delicate areas. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this, working, taking away and adding, and then I will show you the picture, the final artwork later. Okay, bye bye.